Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Des Moines and our February 22nd meeting. I'm President Becky Greenwald, and I want to start off by a big thank you to Kevin Casser and his wife Connie for throwing a great February fling last Friday night at Hyperion. We walked through the ages. It was a great turnout and a wonderful time. So thank you so much. And please tell Connie we appreciate her special touches as well. Okay, so it's time for the Becky Buzz Factoid. So tomorrow is February 23rd. It's a very special day. Anybody want to guess why? Basketball. Well, that too. However, it's National Tootsie Roll Day tomorrow. So it's also even more special because it's Rotary's 119th birthday, February 23rd. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun and fitting to celebrate our Rotary International birthday with the Chicago-based Tootsie Rolls. So enjoy a Tootsie Roll on me today. But seriously, February 13th, 1905 was the first meeting of what was to become Rotary International. And Paul Harris and 3 others met in an office in what had been the Unity Building on Dearborn Street in Chicago. That building's since been torn down. But February 23rd is also World Peace and Understanding Day. And that's a United Nations sponsored day to celebrate peace throughout the world. And they specifically chose the 23rd of February to honor Rotary and all the work that we do in that area. So while we're honoring all world leaders, citizens that have contributed towards peace in all walks of life, it's a day to live peacefully and celebrate organizations that champion goodwill, of which everyone in this room is a tremendous champion of goodwill. So be thankful and appreciate all that you do to contribute to the success of Rotary completing our mission. So Rotary's birthday was selected again by the UN because peace is a cornerstone of the Rotary International mission, and Rotary projects, when you think about it, create positive change in local communities, and this change is happening all around the world in these communities, and that causes and can create global effects. So there's a lot that's been going on these 119 days, and there's not 119 years, and there's a lot more to do, clearly. So tomorrow, if you want to celebrate, all over the world, people will be celebrating World Peace and Understanding Day. So if you want to join in, you can observe a moment of silence, a minute of silence actually, at 12 noon Central Time. You can think about reflecting on Rotary. So I'm going to set my clock so I remember to take it easy for a minute and really think about World Peace Day. So Rotary also designates February as Peace and Conflict Prevention and Resolution Month, and there'll be more on that next week. But simply put, Rotarians do not accept that conflict is a way of life. And Rotary service projects, which we participate in, and the peace fellowships and the scholarships address underlying causes of conflict, which include poverty, discrimination, ethnic tensions, lack of access to education, and unequal distribution of resources. So, as Rotarians, we join other Rotarians around the world as we increase the opportunities for peace, and Rotary creates environments where peace can happen. So, let's all say happy birthday to Rotary. Happy birthday. Thank you so much. Okay, and now I would invite Chris to come up and give the Pledge of Allegiance and the 5-way tap.
I get it out of inspiration then, right?
No, well, I wondered why that wasn't on the list. You got your inspiration?
Yes, I do.
And his inspiration. That's good, because I was going to say, what's the deal?
Well, since you passed out Tootsie Rolls, if we're going to take a vote, I think Becky actually needs to sing that song when she comes back up here. So it's pretty intimidating to think about doing a moment of inspiration in front of this group. But I'm going to turn the tables on you. I'm going to ask you to provide a moment of inspiration. For just a moment, close your eyes. Obviously, stop eating. But close your eyes and think back to a life-altering moment in your past. You might have lost your job. You could have experienced the death of a family member or someone close to you. You can open your eyes. Now think about the days, weeks, and months, and even years afterwards. Support was in abundance, I'm sure, in the days and weeks after that incident in your life. But months and years afterwards, probably pretty thin support. And why? Because everyone else's life had moved on, but yours was far from doing that. So here's the role you get to play. Think of someone who experienced a life-altering event months or years ago. In the next week or so, reach out to them. Ask them how they're handling that life event, and listen, because chances are most people aren't. So it's your opportunity to bring peace, since we were talking about peace, your opportunity to bring peace to someone's life, and I'm confident you will make an indelible impression on someone's life that day. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the 5-way test. Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And is it fun? Oh, yes. Take a moment to greet too.
Opportunity to greet several of our new guests today. So glad you've had such a good conversation with one another. But we have several guests, and I want to ask each of our guests to please stand when I call your name and remain standing, and then we'll acknowledge and greet everybody at once when we've got everybody standing up. So this is fantastic. We've got a nice group today. Jake Belay is a realtor and is the guest of us and son of Scott Belay. Jacob Burke, come on, oh, there we go, thank you. Jacob Burke with Home Care Advocacy Network of Des Moines and a guest of Josh Brady. Tej Dewan, Principal Financial Group, a guest of Steve Jacobs. Nicola Dance, Dean of the Cathedral of St. Paul's and a guest of Hal Chase. Amanda Esty, Vice President, Senior Head of Retail Banking for Vision Bank in Waukee, and the guest of Will Brown. And our next 4 individuals are guests of Carter Smith. So Carter's carrying the award here today. Austin Goodnight, please stand, with Frederickson and Byron Law Firm. Aaron Nutt of Boyd Jones Construction. Karen Lee Meeks with Box DSM. And Libby Nichols with Dot Dash Meredith. And William McMillan, retired physician and guest of Doug Dorner. Let's be sure, let's see, got one more. Mike Simonson with Simonson and Associates and candidate for Des Moines City Council, filling Connie Bosen's vacant seat, a guest of David Oman. Great, so thank you everyone. So happy that you're here. We hope to see you again. It's tumbler time. Look on your badge and please consider donating $5 to the cup on the table if you don't have a green dollar sign on your name badge. And even if you do, you can always donate more to our Rotary Club of Des Moines Foundation, and of course we thank you for your continued support. So, where in the world has Club 27 been? Well, here you can check it out. We were at the Second Chance Tuesday. We meet every second Tuesday of the month at Big Grove Brewery for a little refreshment and conversation. And we had a nice group at Second Chance Tuesday at Big Grove just past week. And Scott Bennett was in Sedona, Arizona with their local Rotary Club, Lucky Pig. So we're going to have to ask Scott what that's all about. It's the first pig Rotary thing I've seen. So at any rate, you can always check out your own, where in the world is Club 27 to take with you on your trips. You just see Kitty, you can get yours on a stick or just the sign itself. But please remember to take it with you and come back and let us know where you've been and what fun you've been up to. So now it is my pleasure to ask Will Brown, one of our new members, to come forward so that we can introduce him officially to the club. Well, and he brought his support. He was so happy to be here. So thanks Amanda. So it's really a fun time to be able to introduce our new members. And Will was sponsored by Kashan Merchant. So Will is currently the Vice President of Private Wealth Management at Vision Bank, and you are housed in the Waukee location. So we asked our new members fun facts. So we have 5 questions, and here are the answers that you get. Do you remember them?
I do.
Oh, good.
I do.
So you've got a free day. What would we find you doing? Depending on the season, bowling in the winter, or golfing spring, summer, and fall. Might have been able to get that in this week too, right?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Good. Where in the world have you traveled and you can't wait to go back to? Southern half of Ireland. My favorite place on earth, next to an Iowa golf course. Oh, okay. No worry, a golf fellowship is calling you.
Yes.
Okay, and what's the best piece of advice you've been given? Do unto others as you have them do unto you. And what talent or skill do you possess that might surprise or delight people? He says, I'm not sure what would delight people, but I do love photography and spend a lot of time in nature taking photos. I would like to think the pictures might bring some people delight. Well, I'd see those pictures. And finally, you're joining Rotary. What can't you wait to tell your friends about our organization? Here's what you said then. I can't wait to tell my friends about the great people that I have been meeting and the rich history of Rotary and their commitment to giving and supporting the metro community. So, fantastic. We're so glad you're here. Now a little bit more about you and your family. So you are married with 4 children, 1 is adopted, and 9 grandchildren. Wow, yeah, could be. Okay, and Will's wife is the assistant principal there at Horizon Elementary School. It's in Johnston, right?
Yes.
So it's in
Yeah.
Johnston?
Yeah.
And Will and his wife have led youth groups and married couples life groups for 30 years at their church. So let's give Will a big official welcome. Okay, Doug, it's your turn. Past President Doug Saltzgaber will now introduce our speaker.
Yay, Doug. Wow, that's a lot more than I expected. How's everybody doing? I really don't care. Our speaker today has had the misfortune of knowing me for about the last 15 years, so I was selected to introduce him. Cody Christensen, the Development Services Director for the City of Des Moines, has spent the last 17 years, believe it or not, guiding development in the city in a variety of different roles. This includes time spent as a building inspector, with contractors on the job sites, getting his feet dirty, and as a plans examiner, working with architects and engineers on commercial project design. I'm sure Mike has got a lot of experience with that when he was a planner, plans examiner. And as the administrator that tasked with leading the city's Permit and Development Center operations. And now as the director of the city's Development Services Department. Cody is known for his strategic, open-minded approach and practical problem-solving skills, and I've seen that in action a number of times. While Cody has been with the Des Moines, his team has been instrumental in steering over $7 billion worth of development that significantly contribute to the city of Des Moines' growth and vibrancy. And Cody told me earlier that as a city administrator, he gets 2% of that $7 billion. Not a bad role. While Cody relishes his leadership role, what truly sets him apart is his willingness to roll up his sleeves and immerse himself in the challenges faced by his team. Put to credit the collective efforts of his dedicated colleagues, Cody exemplifies a collaborative spirit that has been crucial in achieving the milestones that Des Moines proudly boasts. He is passionate about the city he serves, and he finds genuine joy in his work. Let's welcome Cody Christensen.
All right, thanks, Doug. And everyone, thank you for having me. I'm truly honored to be here. Make sure I get this clicker turned on before I jump too far into things. Like Doug said, I've been with the city of Des Moines for the last 17 years, and I think Doug was probably working here 17 years before I even started, so had some pretty good experience with him. I was planning to come here to say, once I heard that Doug was going to be introducing me, to not believe a thing that he tells you about me. But I think most of what he said is you can take home. It's pretty good. I've got a short presentation here. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the, it all has a development focus. But we're going to be talking about some of the great things that happened in Des Moines during 2023, as well as some of the challenges and the things that we're doing, trying to turn those challenges into opportunities and make the most out of them. And also give you a little forecast on what you can expect coming up in 2024. Once we're done, I will have time for questions, so be happy to answer any questions you might have. Let's go ahead and start out with some of the challenges. In 2023, we did have a number of headlines that were fairly concerning. Had Wells Fargo leave downtown, and at the end of 2023, we had a 16% downtown office vacancy rate. That's concerning compared to the rest of the metro area that didn't have such vacancy rates. However, when you zoom out a little ways and take a look at other metro communities in the Midwest, look at Minneapolis, Denver, Kansas City, there's a number of other cities that have 20 to 30% downtown office vacancy rates, which makes what's going on in Des Moines look pretty darn good. We've also had a number of good headlines. Principal Financial bringing their workers back to the office. Now, it's not the same environment that we had prior to the pandemic, but we have workers that are in the office typically at least 3 days a week. That adds to the vibrancy, and the foot traffic downtown really helps support the businesses that we have down here. Come and Go sold to Maverick, and after that happened, Maverick committed to keep at least 250 high-paying jobs in downtown Des Moines for the next decade. That was a substantial win for us, having that company sold to an out-of-state organization. Here's one that's just on the other side of the block. The Ruan 2 Center that's going to be undergoing a residential conversion project here pretty soon. Over the last couple of decades, we've seen a substantial transition of commercial and office space in our downtown go from commercial and office and be converted to residential use. This has added a number of residents to downtown. It's really diversified our downtown population. This has been a substantial contributor to how well Des Moines has survived times like this that we're seeing when one sector of this population is going through a transition. You see the office employees that might not be here nearly as much, but we've got thousands of residents that now occupy downtown and keep things going. So how about those interest rates? That's something we haven't seen in a while, is it? In 2023, so we had record-breaking high interest rates we hadn't seen in over 20 years. And talk about a significant concern. We wrapped up a round of interviews with developers and design firms, and we asked them for a forecast on what's coming. And a common theme was, well, it really depends on what happens with the interest rates. But the other theme that we heard was, there's a lot of projects that are in the works. The designers were busy. They're working on things that the developers are ready to go with once the interest rates start to take a tip down a little bit. Take a look at our building permit numbers here. We track our building permits every year. And the numbers that we saw last year were the highest that we'd seen since 2016, with just over $500 million worth of value that was permitted in 2023. We had nearly 600 new multifamily dwelling units and just over 250 new single-family homes that were permitted. This is an indication that there is still significant investment being made in Des Moines, and that's pretty reassuring. Now, the city isn't responsible for this alone. We have numerous partners. We work with those partners in a variety of ways. Tax increment financing is one example. Across the city, we have 26 different urban renewal areas where we can commit tax increment dollars to help get projects going that otherwise wouldn't be possible. For every dollar of TIF, tax increment financing, that we commit, we see nearly $6 worth of private investment to match it. We also work with nonprofit organizations like Neighborhood Development Corporation. They work on more challenging projects to give a boost to commercial nodes in the neighborhoods. We also work with others like Invest DSM. They're more focused on the residential neighborhoods, the residential component. In fact, just last night I toured a home that Invest DSM had rehabbed. They purchased a 5-unit rental property that is substantially run down, had a number of challenges, renovated it, and it's now on the market now as a very nice single-family dwelling on 31st Street. Here's a few examples of the work that Invest DSM does. The blue house on the right also includes an accessory housing unit in the detached structure in the backyard. That's a new element that came in with the code that we adopted in 2020 that recognizes and allows accessory dwelling units to provide another option for the population that may have a family member that needs a place to live for lower cost. We're going to be moving a number of city offices. Back in December of last year, we closed on the building at 1200 Locust, a former Nationwide office building. I'm looking forward to this personally because I've been located in the Armory building for a number of years and have had to relocate because of flood and sewer backups and a number of other things. But I'm really looking forward to this move, mainly for the fact that this will allow us to provide a lot better service to the community. When we consolidate a number of city offices under a single roof, anybody can come to that one location and get a building permit or talk to our housing division or renew a pet license. We're not going to have to send people down the street anymore. We'll still have our parks department located in an off-site location, but we're working on options to be able to connect remotely from that facility. It's going to be a good move, and it also opens up some redevelopment opportunities with the Argonne Armory building and the City Hall a few years later. We'll be moving here in about 2 years. The plan is early 2026. This stuff just doesn't happen on its own. We put a lot of effort into setting plans. The Future Forward Downtown Master Plan was adopted last year that sets a strategic vision for the future of downtown. The city also adopted Climate Adaptation Plan, ADAPT DSM, that sets goals for how the city will respond to climate change. And we also give a nod to our history. You look at Reflect DSM and it sets out a new way to think about historic preservation. And that influences the development decisions that we make in a way that allows us to preserve Des Moines' history. So I spent most of my time with the city and the permanent development center, so now we're going to get to talk a little bit about more of the projects. This is the fun part. This is what I really like. On the screen here, you see a couple of projects from the Heart of America group. The Tempo Apartments on the right is up and nearing completion. It's at the intersection of East 6th and Walnut. And the Aston Apartments on the left side will be going up later this year, just a few blocks to the north. This group utilizes ICF construction, which is a unique construction method for Des Moines. Essentially, all of the bearing walls in these buildings are a solid poured concrete wall that's sandwiched between layers of high-density foam insulation. Creates a very solid, very well insulated, and certainly very permanent structure. On the south side of the river and just west of Indianola Avenue, this summer we'll see the Union River's Edge coming out of the ground, which will add a couple hundred units of affordable housing. This is a product that we haven't seen a lot of in downtown recently, but a lot of our efforts are focused on putting affordability into our development agreements. A couple of others. I see Melissa's here in the crowd. The Falcon Apartments on the right is going to be going up right across the street from the Central Iowa Shelter. It incorporates just over 200 dwelling units and covered parking on the lower levels. This was a challenging site. When you think about building downtown, you wouldn't guess that there's not going to be sanitary sewer available. This is the type of thing that we use tax increment financing to help bridge the gap to make these things happen. The High Street lofts on the left, the one building is going up right now at the intersection of 16th and High. And when that one's wrapped up, the second phase will come in. Both of these will incorporate a mixture of affordable units as well as market rate. With all of our development agreements, we're focusing on implementing elements of affordability to integrate affordability into our market rate product. Move a little further to the south and go across to MLK and you get into Gray Station. Hubble will be moving forward with the second phase of this development that will bring a mixture of additional condo buildings, multi-story condo buildings, row houses, and even some detached single family projects, some of the only single family that's available near downtown. What we're seeing with our multifamily developers is that they're really competing to offer the most amenities. The projects that we tour have indoor pools, fitness centers, bike lockers. It's really nice seeing all the unique features that are now added to attract tenants. The Market District, if you move a little further east, on the south side of the East Village, this is a really exciting master plan development that's moving forward. If you drive down Southeast 4th Street today, you'll probably see crews that are working on finishing up the bioswales. It incorporates a very unique design. We cleared the path by eliminating a bunch of public works facilities that were extremely outdated, and now this site is ripe for development. JSC Properties anticipates having some structures coming out of the ground later this year. And if anyone's been down along the river last fall, you probably saw the big dirt pile that Mid-American Energy brought in. That's going to be turned into a riverfront park. The development will be bookended on the east and the west by parks and connected down the center with a lineal trail that utilizes an abandoned railroad right-of-way. We're really looking forward to this. This is a prime example of placemaking. This is something that our staff really spent a lot of time doing, trying to make Des Moines just a very attractive place to be. We've had a number of new dining and entertainment projects go forward. These are just a few. Either or at 63rd and Grand, Dink's Pickleball at Atlanta Merle Hay Mall, Nadia's French Bakery on Grand, and of course the Oak Park Restaurant on Ingersoll. Later this year, you'll see groundbreaking for the project that will contain the Toppin and Goliath Brewery in the Drake neighborhood. That'll be a fantastic addition to that area. So I've talked a lot about our big projects, but we also focus on smaller scale stuff. For the past 3 years, we've offered a neighborhood commercial revitalization program. And this is a program that provides financing options for the smaller scale projects that don't have so many options available. With each, we've supported 22 projects over the last 3 years. And I'm gonna have to check my notes here to be able to rattle off the right numbers. Each dollar that's been invested, pardon me, I'm getting lost here. I can't find it. So anyway, basically what we do is we invest money, but it comes with a matching grant. So I think it's like for every dollar that we commit, we end up seeing $14 worth of additional investment come in. It's a nice way to take a diverse approach to the projects that we incent. We also work on historic preservation. Like I said, we adopted a new historic preservation plan. It's good for the city to preserve its history, and one way that we can do that is through rehabbing the existing buildings that contribute to Des Moines' character. The Oak Park, Highland Park area is a very good example of a place where strategic investment and a strategic approach has really generated a lot of momentum. There's a number of great projects here, great businesses that are doing really well. And this isn't something that anyone has done alone. It's been a partnership. There's a lot of collaboration between the city, the business owners, and the nonprofit organizations that help make these things go. Later this year, you'll see Invest DSM bring forward a project, a new multifamily project at the intersection of 6th and Euclid. We also work on our corridors. So 6th Avenue has seen some improvements. The 6th Avenue Flats, just north of the University, is up and occupied. Later this year, you'll see the center of 6th coming out of the ground a few blocks to the north. This will provide some affordable housing units, as well as some incubator space for minority entrepreneurs. At the bottom of the screen, you see the comparison of the before and after shots of the streetscape. It included bioswales, a road diet, improved bus stops. This really improves the pedestrian experience for those along 6th Avenue and helps generate momentum for more investment. We'll also be working on reconstructing 2nd Avenue later this year. The bridge is already done, and the next step is to reconstruct the road between University and the river. And the city was awarded a $500,000 grant to extend a trail along the levee on the west side of the Des Moines River. Ingersoll's been in the news lately. This is a streetscape project that's been funded through tax increment financing. So the development that's been put in place along Ingersoll Avenue over the last 15 or so years is funding improvements along the corridor. The road diet, the protected bike lanes, these things do bring some challenges, but the challenges that come are from the additional vibrancy, the additional traffic, the additional attention to this area. Those are good problems to have. It's good to be bringing more people in. The city will continue to work with the business owners to work through those challenges. Getting a little further away from downtown, we're also seeing some activity down at Southbridge Mall along the Southeast 14th Street corridor. Genesis Health Club will be putting in a 5-lane swimming pool, pickleball courts, a sports bar. On the other side of the mall, we have an affordable senior housing project going up. And along the corridor, we've seen some new restaurants, Olive Garden, seen a Starbucks, have a Cane's Chicken coming later on. It's good to see investment being made along these corridors. Other significant investments will be coming to the Des Moines Airport. Having that bond referendum passed last November is saving the taxpayers $76 million in the more affordable financing that the county could help out with. This is going to improve the entrance, add a new parking ramp, build a complete new terminal, and add more gates. According to a study done in 2022, airport activity drives over $750 million of economic impact. That's important not just for Des Moines, but for the entire state. The city was also recently awarded a $34 million infrastructure grant to extend the Southeast Connector. So it'll extend MLK from Southeast 30th to Highway 65 in Pleasant Hill. This will provide a direct connection to downtown, and it will open up hundreds of acres of land for commercial and industrial development. This is a big one. It was actually the largest competitive grant the city has ever been awarded. We're looking forward to what comes along this connector. Construction will start in 2025, and it's going to take a couple years to get it done. Little focus on recreational stuff. You got to have some fun too, right? We're not just doing construction all the time. The Icon Water Trails, the first phase is taking place right now at the Scott Avenue Dam. This is transformative because for years the rivers that cut through downtown Des Moines have been things that we can't get in and enjoy. They're dangerous. The low-head dams are killers. This project will transform those rivers into recreational attractions. This will generate additional development. If you head down to Single Speed Brewing, you can get a taste of what this sort of stuff brings to downtown Des Moines. This is just the first phase. More will come. There's more fundraising yet to do, but we're looking forward to what happens. Other parks plans. The Parks Department has over $50 million worth of improvements planned for the Birdland Park and Marina. Phase 1 is anticipated to start here soon. We are waiting on a grant to be awarded. If it is awarded, it will allow us to complete all of the Phase 1 improvements that are shown here on this slide. There's about $2 million worth of improvements planned for Grays Lake, upgrades to the marina, improvements to the trails, and improvements to the parking and the entry. The last project I have to talk about on the park side is the Wright Park Community Recreation Center. This project will replace the former Grub YMCA and will provide a pool, gymnasium, fitness center, community rooms, and affordable youth programming for the residents on the north side of town. And that brings me to the end, so I'll open things up for questions. Yes, sir.
For your purposes, how do you define affordable housing?
The question is, how does the city define affordable housing? What we base I'll talk about from the economic development agreement side. There's a number of ways to define affordable housing, various levels. A lot of what we do is we'll negotiate at least 10% of the units in a new multifamily project that's being incentivized to be offered at 65% home rent limits that targets households that are earning 80% area median income. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I understand the police station is supposed to move. What is going to happen to that building? You know, that's the fourth building built when the riverfront was set aside as civic buildings.
So the question is, as the police station moves, as the police department moves to 1200 Locust, what will happen with the police station? It's a historic riverfront building, contributes to the civic nature, the civic architecture in that corridor. Yet to be determined. We're not sure what will happen. We're certain that it will open up a redevelopment opportunity, but we're also certain that there will be elements of that building that will need to be preserved. You've seen things like the World Food Prize go into the library on the west side of the river. We anticipate similar types of projects going in at the Armory building, likely at the police station. We hope that we have civic type uses that go into these buildings, or if they're not civic type uses, at least something that maintains that architecture and the fabric that it adds to the area. Yes?
What about public education, particularly elementary, in the downtown area? You've got all these people coming in, generally speaking, younger. Where are the schools for those students?
So the question is, with all the people that are coming to downtown, what efforts are being made to provide adequate educational resources? I don't have the answer to that, but what I can say is that we do work with the Des Moines Public School District, and certainly with Mayor Bozen being in her chair now, I anticipate more of a direct correlation and more collaboration between the city and the school district. Question in the back.
You talked a lot about grants. I wonder where those grants come from, and what's your success rate on your grant application?
The question is, of all the grants that I speak about, where does the funding come from, and what is the success rate on the applications? I don't have the success rate. I don't have the total number of applications that we receive versus the number of grants that are awarded. What I can say is we do, like with the neighborhood commercial revitalization grants, we work them through a scoring process, and we select the projects that have the most need, that have the most benefit, and that show the best chance of success. I'd have to pull in some of my staff to be able to provide more detailed numbers on those. Where that funding comes from, a lot of it last year came from ARPA dollars, the American Rescue Plan Act, that fund a lot of money to the city. Other grants that we award come from tax increment financing, and some basics on tax increment financing. When we establish a TIF district, that freezes the tax base, and then any additional development that comes on board that raises those property values, that additional property tax revenue is then able to be reinvested into that district, and that's where those funds come from. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, talking more about the children, there's not that many great places for children to play downtown, and I know there's been a lot of talk about, for example, the park that's across the river in the East District having areas for children, not just older people. Just wondering where that's going, what the thought is.
The question is, with the lack of green space downtown, what efforts are being made to provide more amenities that are conducive to young families and children? You will see planning efforts like we see in the Market District, where green space is incorporated into it. As additional land comes available in other parts of downtown, I would anticipate we'll see more focus on what sort of amenities are provided for children. One of the proposals that we had for the site across from City Hall incorporated some green space. I think we're going to see more proposals like that. I talked about the amenities that are offered with our multifamily structures. In order to attract the young families and support the kids that are in the area, we're going to need some of those features. Yes, sir.
You said that the commercial office space vacancy rate is 16%. Any idea what the residential space vacancy rate is, particularly with all these new units coming on? It's like, I don't know who's moving into these places. Are they moving into these places?
So the question is, I covered the office vacancy rates. What is the residential vacancy rate? I'd have to lean on our multifamily developers for that. But what I can say is, as multifamily structures continue to be built, we keep seeing the applications for those projects. And Doug will tell you this, I rely on our experts to provide that sort of information. And when it comes to residential development, those developers are certainly the experts that have their finger on the pulse of what the market can handle and what the demand is. And we're seeing more and more of those projects coming through, which tells me there continues to be a demand for more residential dwelling units. Yes, sir.
With the expansion of residential downtown, residential development, and many multi-family dwellings and buildings being converted to residential use, I can see there's obviously a great challenge in having commercial services to
So the question is, what are we doing to promote commercial development with all the residential that's coming to downtown? We are, with a lot of our residential developments, you'll see they will come through as mixed-use buildings. So a lot of the new structures that come up have commercial space on the ground level to activate the streetscape and provide opportunities for businesses to go in to support all the residents that have been coming to downtown. We factor that into our negotiations as we're working on incentive packages, and we also have that as part of our downtown master plan. That really focuses on the need for that balance to make sure that we are providing opportunity for those spaces to come in along with those residential units. Now, I will say that as we move forward and we see more of the vacant office buildings converted to residential, we pick the low-hanging fruit first, or the development does, the developed community does. So as we have more Class A office space that's open for conversion, those projects become a little more challenging. You might have to cut a light well into a building to make it work for residential. But as we have the residents come, it's a balance of foot traffic, permanent residents, and commercial services to support all of that foot traffic and the number of residents. So it will ebb and flow, but as we're working on our city plans and working on our incentives, those are the things that we do keep in mind as we move forward to make sure that we're not creating a shortfall in other sectors.
One last question. Sorry.
I really appreciate your presentation on developing the waterfront and opportunities for recreation there. At the same time, are there new conversations about ensuring water quality?
So the question is, with the efforts to open up the waterfront as a recreational opportunity, are there conversations also focused on improving water quality? That's one of the key elements of the Icon Water Trails initiative, is to bring more attention to these resources that we have that run through the middle of Des Moines. And with that additional attention is more focus on the quality of the water that we have.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Wow, what a wonderful city we have to live in, and so happy to know that it's stewarded so well by so many people. Thank you so much, Cody, for all you do to help make our community thrive. And as a token of our appreciation, we've donated a book in your honor to the Des Moines Public Library Foundation, and that book has become part of the Rotary Rosie Reader Band collection. Our club had donated $40,000 to the Des Moines Public Library Foundation to purchase this band a few years ago. So you've got a book traveling around in your honor starting next month, right?
Okay, appreciate it.
Great. So we're wrapping up a big month of fun. Tomorrow night, February 23rd, is Polio Plus night with the Iowa Wolves. So for those who are going, you should have received your tickets by email. And thank you to the very many of you that have purchased and donated tickets that will be going to the kids at Oak Ridge. Excuse me. There's also one more chance for a district foundation fun event on Monday the 26th, this Monday at Destination Grill in Grimes. And it's from 5:30 to 7, a casual event open to all Rotarians. I went to Boone this last Monday and it was a nice evening. It includes a short program about the good work of the Rotary Foundation. There's no cost to attend, but you need to leave. When you leave, you need to purchase a Zoo of Love plushie animal for $40, and $30 of that will go to the Polio Plus donation to the Rotary Foundation in your name. So flyers are available out by the name badges. Again, Destination Grill, just off of 141 there, not too far away. Upcoming speakers. We've got a great lineup as always. Remember that you and any of your guests that you wish to bring really do need to RSVP by 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, the day before the meeting. You cannot register your guests online, so you do need to go through Kitty so we can know that you're coming and have a name badge ready. So February 29th, Kelsey Brown and Catherine Kuhnert with Mid-American Energy will be here to talk about all the things going on there. March 7th, we have Dr. Yogi Shah with Broadlawns, and he'll be talking about brain health. And March 14th, Billy Weathers with Be Well Foundation. A great lineup. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Welcome to all of our guests that are attending today. We hope to see you again. Will, it's so wonderful that we got to formally introduce you to the club. We're so glad that you're a part of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. And until we meet again, let's get out there and have a good time and do good in the name of Rotary. We are adjourned.